Must be Friday, 12:30 for P2P Live here on Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. My name's Mark Smith. I'm Group Managing Director of People to People in Australia and Frog Recruitment in New Zealand. So thanks for joining us. It's Friday, 12:30, which means that we go live on the platforms to have a quick chat about what's going on in the Australian employment and job marketplace. Before we jump into this week, though, I just thought I'd do a shout out to our friends and colleagues in Melbourne who now are free from lockdown. Lockdown number 6, I think it is. So well done, guys. And we do very much appreciate the effort that you've put into the 6 lockdowns. There's a couple of tweets, though, that I saw. Check this one out. This one is like the tour, the lockdown tour, as if you're like Skyhooks or something like that. So from March to May 2020, 43 days. Lockdown 2, 111 days. And the last one, Lockdown 6, August 5th to October 21, 77 days. Total of 262 days, the most lockdown city in the world. And don't you just love who tweeted that? At Happily Made. Which is cool. Now, the other one I wanted to show is a tweet, actually, from... this picture is a guy, his Twitter handle, and Jacob, who's the man behind the scenes in Facebook Live, he'll pop the link up in the comments there. And by the way, we can see all of your comments on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So if you've got any comments or questions, just pop them in there. We'll get to them. But this is from @POS43. The guy's name is Patrick. And he says in his tweet, "This is how I am celebrating #Melbourne Unlocked. My neighbour hasn't left his drive in 8 weeks. And as he said, we're having a quiet one off the wood." I just thought that was fantastic to see exactly what freedom means to the old guy who's been in his driveway or been in his house for the last 8 weeks and having just a quiet beer on wood, which is good. Righto, let's get into things. We're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about jobs and employment throughout Australia and New Zealand. And so what we'll do today is we'll go through our regular numbers section. Then we will cross to Aidan Boast from our Sydney office, and he's got an opportunity to talk to us about. And then we'll be having a chat to Manda Milling, who will be reliving the blog that we posted a little while ago about Hamilton, because she went to the Hamilton musical on Tuesday night. So we thought, what a great segue to actually have a talk about. We'll get to talk about the musical, but also about the blog that she wrote as well. So let's jump into things and get started with our regular numbers section. So this week, the numbers comes from the September jobs report or employment dashboard from Seek. So a big shout out to them. And Jacob, I think we've also got the link to the actual report on the Seek website. So some fantastic data there. So let's take you through what they've got here. So this is specifically for September, and you can see that the national job ads month on month were up 6%, which is good. But look at that year-on-year figure. No surprises really when you think about what we were doing this time last year. 56.7% increase for the number of job ads. But even more profound is that we are also 24% up on the 2-year. So from September 19. So we are 24% above pre-pandemic levels in terms of the number of advertisements that we have on Seek at the moment. And then to compound the story that we've been talking about on P2P Live each week, that is the candidate shortage, you can see that the applications per job month on month have declined again by just under 1%. But year on year, they're down. But year on 2-year, so pre-pandemic levels, the number of applications per job has declined 35% from pre-pandemic levels. So there is a hesitancy in the marketplace. It's hard to find talent right now. You've got to have those networks. Okay, all right, let's have a quick look at the next slide, which is basically showing the differences around Australia. So month-on-month job ad changes. And I don't think there's any surprises here. Look at the rebound in New South Wales after the lockdown is over. up 20.6%. Now, remember, this is September, so it's not. Victoria is still in the midst of its lockdown at 2.6%. All other states are rising. Queensland 7.6, South Australia 5.2, Tasmania 4.2, Northern Territory 2.3, ACT 2.1, and then WA 1.5. But it's a good news story across the country, basically. And you can see those comparisons between pre-pandemic levels. Really interesting stats from Seek. Let's have a look at it on the industry by industry basis to see where the movements are rather than on geography. And you can see here, these are again, we've got 3 columns, month on month, year on year, and year on 2 year, or pre-pandemic. So you can see that month on month, no surprises, hospitality and retail are coming roaring back after the lockdowns, 20.6 and 28.5%. If you have a look on year, so at the depths of the pandemic, admin and office support, retail are up 80+%. And then pre-pandemic levels, this is just, some of these numbers are unreal. Doesn't surprise me, though, when you look at manufacturing, transport and logistics. Our supply chain team, for example, here in Sydney, has got a lot of work on at the moment. Job ad numbers in that sector up 61.8% pre-pandemic levels. Even in some more traditional areas like administration and office support, 22% above pre-pandemic levels. There are some really good news stories in those numbers. I thought I would be a little bit, so we'd also cover off Seek's competitor, I suppose, because Callum Pickering and his Twitter, you should definitely check that out. These are more up-to-date, so not September numbers, but from numbers released yesterday, I think it is. If you wanted to pop that graph up, Jacob. Actually, it's last week's numbers. 15th of October. This is Australian job postings on Indeed by state. The reason I wanted to show you this is that the rebound for Victoria and New South Wales has happened. Up 63, 67% on February 2020. So, but I mean, those numbers are just amazing when you have a look at it. And certainly the lockdowns have now washed through the vacancy numbers. Now, you've got to keep in mind all of these statistics I've shown you today are job ads. They're not the number of hours people are working. It's not the number of people in work. It's not the number of people that are being paid every week. These are just literally the number of job ads that are being posted onto job boards. So you've got to keep it in context, but it would indicate that it is a good news story, and it does fit with our experience at People to People of having a candidate short market with a lot of opportunities for people to choose from. Okay, all right, let's move on. Let's now cross to Aidan Boast in our Sydney office. Before we do that, though, we do have a quick video of an opportunity. I can't remember where it is. Anyway, let's cross that video, and then we'll have a quick chat to Aidan about his job.
Are you looking for a permanent full-time legal support role in a top-tier global law firm? If yes, I'm currently recruiting for a professional who has a minimum of 6 to 12 months reception or administrative experience to fill multiple team assistant positions across Melbourne CBD. This firm has excellent mentoring and career development opportunities available and prioritises their workplace culture, so you can look forward to regular team events. If you or someone you know would be interested in this position, please call me on 9098 7425. Thanks for watching.
Bethany's going to kill me. I can't believe I forgot it was Bethany and her legal roles that she's got in Melbourne. So that's it's actually written here in front of me too, Aidan. Anyway, g'day, Aidan. How are you?
Good. How are you? It's nice to be in the Sydney office. It's great.
Yeah, look at that. Like you're in the office, which is great. There's not a lot of other people in there, but it's just nice to be able to go back to the office, eh? Just magic.
Someone waving in the background, so
yeah. There you go. I can see. Yeah. So, what's been the best thing about your freedom then? Do you think?
Just, I think being able to see people and socialize. However, I must say it's quite overwhelming, like having to go out and make an effort, I suppose, and be a social. It's quite tiring, but I'm sure we'll all catch up.
We're going to ask that in our Twitter poll this week about like what
Ah.
what do you want to go back to the office most for? So it'll be interesting to see how those numbers play out this week. But you've got a job that you want to talk to us about. That's what we're here for.
I do, yes. So currently recruiting for a customer service officer in Brookvale. Really well-established organization. They're global. They specialize in homeware and bathroomware products. So customer service role will be starting as soon as possible until probably mid-January. What we're looking for is someone who has a high level of customer service skills, like resolving resolution, like complaints resolution and customer service resolution skills is really important for this role. You'll be involved with things such as invoicing, payment processing, refunds, and general customer service inquiries. So we're looking for someone who's worked in a similar role. They do also use a couple of systems, so Salesforce and SAP. It's not essential, but if you do have that experience, then it would be a hugely advantageous. And the pay would be.
Is it phone based, Aidan, or is that how they're dealing with the customers, or is it other channels?
Yeah, there's a few other channels. I think they have like almost like a live chat stream, and yeah, the traditional methods obviously is emails and phones as well. But for this role, we'll be paying $29 an hour plus super. And as I said earlier, start as soon as possible. So if you have them skills, contact me or apply to the position. I think we'll have that in the comments, and yeah, I'll be open to have a chat with you.
I can see that. Yep, Jacob has popped the contact details and a link to the job in the comments there already. So it's a temp job, and so is it likely to go longer than, say, where did you say, January? Is that right?
Yeah, mid-January. Possibly they get really busy over the Christmas period, so definitely need that support there. There could be an opportunity to go longer. There is a discussion in the works at the moment. I forgot to mention as well, it will be in the office, so do need to have full vaccinations and able to go into the office in Brookvale.
And it's full-time in the office. It's not any working from home opportunity.
Yeah, not at this stage, just because there's a lot of learning to do, and you're also liaising quite a lot with the distribution and the warehouse team. So obviously that hands-on element, you do need to be there in the office.
I can see that Maddie on LinkedIn likes the opportunity. Oh, there it is. Great opportunity. You love it, Maddie. Apply for it. Actually, don't. I know. Actually, Maddie, and you're in a really good spot right now.
No, don't. Yeah, do not.
Yeah. Exactly. Righto. All right. So anything now? Oh yes. Now before we go, you are still running your Ask a Recruiter series. Is that right?
Yeah, so part 6 was this week. The question I had today was from a candidate who was asking, should I include a cover letter on my job application? So I won't give you the answer. You have to watch the video to know. But yeah, have a look at the recent video, and yeah, let me know what you think. And if you have any other questions, I'm always open to some additional questions. So please feel free to send me a message.
Okay, fantastic. All right, always good to talk to you, Aidan. Thanks for joining us again.
Thanks a lot.
Hopefully, we'll see you again soon, and enjoy the freedom.
Yes.
Okay, let's now cross to. We'll stay in Sydney actually, and we're going to have a chat to Manda Milling, one of the founders of P2P, and also a Hamilton music fan. Manda, you're actually taking advantage. You're taking advantage of the of your freedom, and you're going off to see Hamilton the musical. Is that happened this week?
Yes. Well, we had tickets in July, and of course, but I have to say, the powers that be behind Hamilton and their ticket sales, very seamless process. So the money all came back and the whole thing. So it reopened here in Sydney on Tuesday night, and as I said, I don't get tickets to opening night, but I did to reopening night, and my husband and I attended. I can't say he's the biggest
Oh, there's the
musical.
picture.
There he
There he
is.
is.
There he
There's the
is.
man
So both
himself.
of us
Yep.
masked up. As I said, we would have worn full PPE if required because I was busting to get there. But I was just going to say it was very interesting being at an event where you're all cheek by jowl. It was all at the Lyric Theatre here in Sydney. I thought the way they dealt with, I mean, of course, we had to be double vaccinated. Our QR code is linked to our vaccination certificate, and they had COVID marshals everywhere. It was like lining up for security at an airport. So that was all. I actually found it a bit exciting because it made me felt like I was in an airport. But look, it was very well done, and I would say to anybody. Well, I mean, I've only had the experience of the Lyric Theatre, but they did it really, really well, and we could drink vertically. Which you could get a drink from the bar, but
I'm looking forward to doing that tonight myself.
Yes. So the place was packed, but look, truly, everyone had their masks on, and it was very, very well done. And that was just getting into the show, and then we had the show. So so I am a bit So.
Sounds like you're a bit stage struck there, but we're using this as a really good.
We are. It's a segue.
It's a segue. But there's a blog, isn't there, that we've got?
There is. So we had. Well, gosh, this was back in March when it first opened, and I'm thinking, oh gosh, here we are back out of all our lockdowns, and of course the Sydney lockdown started again in July. So now it's back to the future a little bit. So the blog is sort of relevant again after 6 or 7 months. But what I did was that it was really terrific that Hamilton was Sydney stage was the only place in the world at that point that was being shown, because Broadway in New York and London, everything was shut except Sydney. So it was really terrific. So I just thought, well, gosh, going back to the theatre at that point was almost a segue to going back to the office, which now we find ourselves doing again, with a whole bunch of new rules and a new way of work. And so I thought, well, Hamilton itself was very much a departure from the traditional, but yet it still had a traditional element to the musical, even though it's incredibly innovative. And it's the same with all of us coming back to the office. So there's still an element of, you're still sitting at a desk in front of a computer screen like I am now, but so much has changed with our individual flexibility agreements, and some people will choose to stay working from home. Of course, here in New South Wales, being at 80% vaccinated, we have to be double vaccinated. So we have to QR code coming into our physical office. All our staff have to show, if requested, that they're vaccinated. So that we've got, and nowhere differently to if you go to a pub or a restaurant or anything else. But so, there's all these new little things that are happening, but it's all been quite incremental. So people have been very accepting of it, and it's very, very interesting experience for somebody that's been had a working life of 40 years to see these innovations come in.
Okay, well, I can see that Jacob has put a link to the blog, Hamilton and the New World of Work, in the comments there. So is there one last, before we let you go, is there one last takeaway that you would like to leave from the blog?
I think be flexible. I think, quite honestly, people have shown an extraordinary level of resilience through all of this. And I think people have found skills they probably didn't even know they possessed. No, I know it's been hard and all of that, but I think the resilience and the way people have been flexible to work around some of I don't mean the rules of restrictions, but the restrictions of how you work has been quite remarkable. And the fact from the figures that you had, the rebound, but it hasn't been, whilst it's not been great, it hasn't been dire. And so people have worked around the limitations, and it just shows the resilience of the human spirit, I think.
Excellent. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us, Manda. And I think we managed to how did we manage to talk about Hamilton in
I'll work it in anywhere.
Market update?
Yeah, no, but I think it's all very exciting for everyone. The fact that people can have a beer, go out to a show or a pub or restaurant, it doesn't have to be Hamilton, but the fact that there is actually stuff you can do, as you said, that fellow in Melbourne coming out of 8 weeks and the whole thing. So it's it just feels like a new dawn, really.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you
again
soon.
Thank you for having me.
Enjoy the weekend.
Thank you.
So let's wrap things up. And what we normally do at the end is to look at our Twitter poll. So last week we asked, should you go back to a former employer? Is that something that you should do? And here are the results. Oh, Jacob. They're not coming up on the screen. Haven't got them there. There we go. Is returning to an ex-employer. Why do I always think of Love Island when I don't know why I always think of Love Island when I hear is returning to an ex a good career move. So, and the results, well, 57%, and our equivalent in New Zealand, by the way, was about 66%. So Australians are more committed on this, but because 30% said no, move on, got to keep moving on. And yes, you can definitely make it work. 13, pretty much the same as New Zealand. So no surprises there, I don't think, in the answer to that one. But I still think it's interesting that a full 30% of people will not go back to a previous employer. So let's have a look at this week's question. And here we're going to say, well, we're talking about coming back to work, back to the office. We chatted to Amanda and Aidan about this. But what's the most enticing thing to you when it comes to returning to a physical workplace? Really important, I think, for Melbourne, Sydney, Auckland these days. Is it in-person collaboration, social aspect, perks, or just the fact that you're returning to a routine? Let us know on all of our socials at People to People and on Twitter, so that we can then report back next week. Well, that's it, everybody. Congratulations again to Melbourne. Enjoy your freedom. I know I am going to be enjoying a nice cold beer tonight vertically. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we'll see you next week, 12:30 for P2P Live.